talked about, I think immigration is really a good thing. I think we're a country that's based on immigrants. I'm glad Google is a US company and not a Russian company. And because of our convoluted immigration policies, right now we're educating the best and brightest kids from all over the world, and because of those convoluted immigration policies, we're sending them back to their countries of origin rather than have them stay here to start up their business, to grow, nurture, and develop those businesses. We have issues in this country with welfare. Are Mexicans coming across the border and taking entry-level jobs from Americans? Absolutely not, because we as Americans can sit at home and collect a welfare check that's just a little bit less money or the same amount of money for doing nothing. We have to reform welfare in this country. We can't be a welfare state. So when it comes to immigration, let's make it as easy as possible for individuals that want to come into this country and work to get a work visa. Not a green card, not citizenship, but a work visa. And a work visa should entail a background check and a social security card that applicable taxes get paid. With regard to the 11 million illegal immigrants that are here in this country right now, let's recognize the #1 reason why we have 11 million illegal immigrants in this country right now. And that main reason is that Reagan, when he set up his amnesty period in the 80s, he coupled that with putting government in charge of quotas, matching up businesses with individuals that wanted jobs, and from day one, that was a total breakdown. You cannot get a work permit and come into this country and work, and yet you know, if you're in Mexico, that if you can get across the border, there are jobs, because you have dozens of friends and family that live in the United States, and so you might be forced to cross illegally. So I think we need to set up a grace period for the 11 million illegal immigrants that are here to get them a work visa. Work visa, not citizenship, not a green card, but a work visa, background check, social security card. Building a fence across 2,000 miles of border, putting the National Guard arm in arm across 2,000 miles of border, in my opinion, would be a whole lot of money spent with very little, if any, benefit whatsoever. Securing the border is knowing who's over here and then enforcing those laws. If we're going to make it easy to get a work visa and you're in this country working illegally, then make it a one strike, you're out. You're in this country working illegally, you'll be arrested, you'll be deported, and you won't come back and work in this country again. And then let's not for a second, when it comes to immigration, not talk about the drug issue and how much of the drug issue impacts the violence around the border. The violence around the border is a prohibition phenomenon. These are disputes that are being played out with guns rather than the courts. Legalize marijuana, and arguably 75% of the border violence with Mexico goes away because that's the estimate of the drug cartel's activities that are engaged in the marijuana trade. 28,000 deaths south of the border over the last 4 years. These are disputes that are being played out with guns rather than the courts. If you haven't looked at the drug issue, I would ask you to look at it and see if you don't come to the same conclusion that I have. And that is that 90% of the drug problem is prohibition-related, not use-related. And that's not to discount the problems with use and abuse, but that ought to be the focus. I'm here in Las Vegas because of the poker players and the fact that the debate was scheduled that ended up getting canceled. But I'm here to talk to poker players in Las Vegas, because did you know that the United States government passed legislation that made it illegal to play online poker in this country and out of this country? And so because of that, we have 10 million poker players in this country that can't play poker online. This is an industry that could employ tens of thousands of Americans, but it's not employing tens of thousands of Americans. This is a passion for 10 million Americans that are being denied that passion. I think this is an example of dozens of other areas in our lives that we're just kind of taking for granted that the government comes in and does things to you and I and our passions. I have a passion for downhill skiing. I have a passion for mountain biking. And right now, the federal government is coming in and denying mountain bikers access to public lands with trails. They're allowing horses on those trails and the excrement that goes along with those horses, but they're not allowing my tire tracks. Now, this is minor, but this is my passion, and I'm being denied that passion by the United States government. I think there are all sorts of examples like this that are out there, and if you'll examine it, we're going in this direction, not the opposite direction. Let's empower ourselves to what this country has always been about, which is liberty and freedom and the personal responsibility that goes along with that. I'd like to talk, too, about the Iowa Leader Family Pledge, which is being asked of all the presidential candidates to sign. I refuse to sign this document. This document is going to alienate millions of Americans, that these are their choices. We're talking about discriminating against anyone who's outside of the definition of virtue by signing this document. We're talking about gays, we're talking about Muslims, we're talking about single parents, unmarried couples, women, and their right to choose, to make decisions that perhaps lie first and foremost with the woman involved. We need to win this next election. And to win this next election, we've got to grow the Republican Party. We can't cast off the Republican Party. We're going to write off most Americans unless most Americans understand that Republicans are about balancing the checkbook. Republicans are about doing a really good job when it comes to dollars and cents, which I think we do a good job of that. Why Americans are going to give Republicans an opportunity to save this country, I don't know, but I happen to believe Republicans are the only party capable of fixing that, and that's why I'm involved in this contest. Thank you very much for allowing me to be here with you. Gary Johnson 2012, if you just take a few minutes and get online and check me out, I would really appreciate it. And again, thank you all very, very much.